Hello, I'm Tami Walker, and today I wanted to show you how I made this tow yard. This is part of my Abandoned USA series of diecast dioramas. I'm using a chunk of blue foam, 2 inches thick, 12 inches wide, and 10 inches length. I'll flip it over to the clean side there, and I'm just going to use the remaining brown paint that I have left, is some Bambi brown, and that'll just be a nice undercover for the dirt that's going to go on next. And I also get the edges too, so that any little shots won't show in case the base doesn't cover them up. Now these dioramas will be able to be connected together with other dioramas as I build them over time. These are my diecast dioramas, and this is my abandoned gas station. I'll give you a little tour on it and then a little story after this. Sorry about the format. This is the only video I had of building it, but I did make some tiny little boxes and newspapers and shelves and just really junked it up, added some dust in there, and then I sealed it all up nicely inside. I like to make up little stories about the art pieces that I do, and I feel like this is Grandpa. He decided he was going to buy this old gas station and put all of his nostalgia inside of it, and when his friends came to town, he would go and show it off his little place. But maybe Grandpa has passed on and it's been several decades, and every place just sits just as it is there, and people come by every so often and use the facilities if they need, but no one's really broken in or vandalized too much of anything. It just kind of sits in the back country roads waiting for someone to see it. It looks like my car supplies is getting kind of low, but there's still some great cars in there that I can use for future dioramas. But I'm trying to find a bunch of cars in a certain scale because not all of the Hot Wheels or Matchbox are created the same scale. Oh, this cool Terminator, he'd be great to make something out of in the future. A lot of great ideas in these boxes, just ready to start something new. So I'm just setting up what I think I want my cars parked. I didn't use all of these cars. I did use Snoopy, of course. I thought it'd be cool also to have made a trailer and put it like in a festival building for like selling food out of it on the trailer, but I just vetoed against that and decided just to go ahead with just my tow yard design. And I want to just draw out the parameters of everything just so I know what I'm looking for. I want this to be a gravel road that goes up back behind the tow truck yard to an abandoned house, which I've actually already started on that diorama. It's a lot of fun to be able to add all these pieces together. I'm drawing in the gravel road, and now this is Grandpa's gas station. You heard the story. Well, this is his buddy Vern, and Vern's still around, but Vern hurt his knee, and he's been out of work for several months, and he did try to retire, but there's nobody out there to replace him, so he pretty much is just the only tow truck driver around. It has a lot of spare cars, so I'm just adding my Mod Podge and some water. I'm getting that stirred up. Actually, that was not my Mod Podge. That I ran out of Mod Podge. That was my tacky glue, and I needed it to be a little bit more watered down, so it was a little bit easier to paint on. And so I just put the little tiny gray and dark gray gravel on, and I just start out kind of gently. I pour it out in here and just pour it right back into the container again. But this gives me some time to come up with some new ideas and some different things that I can add as I go. I started making dioramas in the early 2020, and I thought this would be just fun to do and try. I've been watching a lot of other diorama makers online and studying them and coming up with my own ideas. I've made some abstract ones and some surreal ones and some apocalyptic dioramas. Hopefully I could show you those in the future. I don't have video on how I made those. I just recently got this set up so I can bring you guys some better videos over here on YouTube. So as you can see, I'm just pressing everything down. This is my favorite part, just dumping all that gravel right out onto that foam board I have right there, and I just dump all that right back into the container. And my hand is covering up the glue that I've already painted on there. I'm just putting the dirt down, and I wish I had nylon so I could put it down a little bit finer. I have some little spots in the gravel that needed to be filled with dirt, so I'm just adding those in there, being a little particular about it. And I wish I could figure out how to speed up my videos. I did it once, but I have not been able to figure it out since. And I just got this microphone working, so I feel a little lucky today that I at least got a few things figured out on this video program. So I'm just getting all the little tiny pieces. I mean, it's the boring part, just painting everything and dumping the dirt down. And I'll just dump that right back onto the tray and pour it right back into the cup. And this is just dirt right outside my door. I dug it up, put it on a metal tray by the heater. Now here I even watered that glue down even more, and I use this little eyedropper and I cover everything with this glue, and this holds it all down secure. It won't come off. You'd have to scrape it pretty hard. But over the dirt areas where I've added the glue, I'm adding some dirt on top that absorbs the extra glue, and also can give me the effect as if the dirt is kind of come into it. I also first spray this with rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol to get the area nice and wet so the glue absorbs right down into it. I did make this glue a little thick. I'd usually water it down a little more. I had a sprayer for it, but it did not work. I had some screen. I have a lot of random objects. I thought this will be perfect for my chain link fence. And I used some baling wire. If there's another name for it, I don't know it. I just know it as baling wire. And just slowly, that's my baling wire. Yeah, it's crazy. I've had it for years. It's rusty. It's old. I've had my tetanus shot. There's a logo I just designed for my t-shirts on my merch shop. You can see that at boxyqueens.com. So I'm just using a toothpick just to poke in the hole. And actually, now that I've made this, I would have done this a little differently. But I just went ahead and did it the way I thought it should be done. Just trying is better than just sitting there trying to come up with a perfect plan. Just do it. So I've glued all of them down, and this fence is designed to keep people from getting in. That is how you put the barbed wire in. It's harder for people to get in, and if you're inside, it's easier to get out. Just throw your coat over the barbed wire and climb out. I'm using that special glue, which is always elusive for me to find, but it seems to be the best glue for me for this project. I tried super glue, but I don't think it liked that rusty baling wire. And I just used 2 tiny wires for that gate to hold it on. This is pretty good. This is the first time I've made this. I'm pretty happy. I felt like, though, that the screen was really too thick and definitely bright. So I am using different colors: burnt sienna, bright orange, Georgia clay, and calypso orange. Those are the colors I usually use to make everything look rusty. And I also use brown, but that I only had that glaze, so that had to work, and it actually did. So I just first very gently just started painting it here and there, and after a while just aggressively painting it over every part of it. I still have to add an upper support with the baling wire, which you'll probably see soon coming up in this video. But I get the inside, I get the outside. You know how it goes. And then I go in with the bright orange. I actually put some burnt sienna on earlier, but the bright orange really pops, and you can keep pushing it around and make it lighter and stuff when you need to. So there you go. There's the top edge I made with the baling wire and just glued those in too. Almost got a perfect fit on most all of them, but yeah, it's kind of a little difficult to get it exact. So this is what it looks like now. And there's my Static King grass applicator, and I ordered this from Woodland Scenics. It's a great company. It's where I get a lot of my supplies from, and also World War Scenics also has some great supplies too. So all I do is I have a special mixture, and I just pour it right in. And at this point, I don't realize the mistake I'm going to make, but you'll see how what an easy solution it is here. So I just turn it on, easy peasy, chicken queasy, and I'm just going to open it up. They usually have a screw to keep the lid on, and I just don't want to have to sit there and put the screw on and off. So I don't really feel like I need it at any point. I'm just going to put the lid on. I'm guessing as I go. There was my two colors that I originally thought I was going to use, but I made a mistake and used the wrong two colors for this. It really wasn't a big deal. I just went ahead and scraped it off, and I can use that excess stuff to make it look like grass clippings from a lawnmower in a future project. Well, I thought I was doing pretty good with my voiceover, but after I saved the project, it cut out a huge section of audio and there was some static noise, so hopefully I can get this fixed and figured. I love to just dump all the grass off. I think that's kind of fun. Tap it out, get the extra off. Sometimes I'll go through and do it a second time, but like I said, the wrong color, scraped it up, and at this point, going ahead and with the right colors to match my abandoned gas station. I'm using this tiny weeds fine turf, dark green, or just weeds I guess, from Woodland Scenics, and I'm putting in just loosely out all over the new grass that I've added on to my diorama. And I do this to the inside fences too, and just kind of adding different variety and color around as I learn to do this. And hopefully the static interference is gone and you can ignore that little sentence there at the bottom of the screen. Often. So I ended up using Wild Meadow 6mm to make little tiny tufts put around. You can see the little tufts. Not the best picture with my GoPro. I'll have to try my other camera next to see how that goes at making pictures. So now I'm just going to start just adding glue around. And this is coarse turf, and this is two colors. This is a dark green and a light green, and the coarse turf is a darker mix, more of the darker mix than is the light green. So it's the same thing I use for my secret garden maze and also for the abandoned gas station, trying to keep the same colors in. I feel like this may be an Indiana area in my mind. I did have a confirmation from somebody who said that that's what it felt like to them too. I'm trying to think of abandoned towns. So that plastic produce bag I had there is I cut little strips out of it and made the barbed wire out of it and just painted it while it was on, and that was pretty easy. It was just a lot of time to cut it. So here I'm just going to test one of the cars out and see what it's going to look like if I put all of that dark green weeds turf on it. And I'm just going to sprinkle it on. This seems not to be either a Matchbox or a Hot Wheels, but more of a knockoff car. Maybe something you can get at the dollar store or something. But yeah, let's see what else. I don't know how long this video is of me doing this. I also did the sides too later on. But there we go. I've got it in there. It looks pretty good. And each individual car needs to be painted its own way, obviously, and put different degrees of moss on it. So definitely. Oh, I still have to fill in between those cars too with moss, which I did. Now I printed out some no trespassing signs. Some have my name on it. Some say Boxy Queens. And I'm just going to use my Mod Podge and glue that down to this aluminum can. Actually, just cut aluminum can out, use the inside, cleaned it up, and now I'm just painting it with some of that burnt sienna and making it all look rusty. And here is where I'm going to go ahead and start filling in between the cars with some of that coarse turf mix that I talked about earlier with the dark green and the light green. Just checking to see how far I need to go here or there. And at this point, I don't really have a lot of different grass choices, and so I'm still new to using a lot of the grass. I've kind of resorted more to the turf because I feel like I'm still a beginner at this. And as I go, I'll be able to have the supplies that I'll need. So it looks pretty good. I got all the parts filled in. I thought I'd leave an empty spot there. And there's my little signs. They're so hard to see. Just take some glue and make this look impossible here to stick it on the fence. And I added some little ivy in the corner too, so the next property I add to that will have some ivy on that. So when they connect, there'll be a stream of ivy. We'll see how that goes. So let's see here. What am I doing? I am just showing everything that I've done. I guess it's a super fast speed. I don't know how I did this before. But you can see my name, Tami Walker. It's not the perfect visuals on here, but we're trying. This is my first video. I'm pretty proud I've gotten this far, and I got the microphone to work. That was completely blue, and I really rusted that out. Thought that would look good. I sprinkled a little dirt on there, which I wish I had the nylons for. It would have been a lot finer dust. But an artist is always a critic of themselves, aren't we? Well, this has been a fun project, and I am building the abandoned house, so I will make a video of that and show you how this goes. And there'll be roads and diners and a bunch of other great things. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day.